Hello, Moira here, and in this tutorial I'm going to demonstrate how I trim a crocheted rib. When I've worked a crocheted rib, I prefer edging my rib rather than actually leaving it with all that sort of rough edge. I think it just makes the project look that little bit more finished. I've got a little sample of a cuff here of a double crochet rib, so I'm going to actually add a trim all the way around. I'm going to start by inserting my hook into one of the chain spaces. Then I'm joining my new colour of yarn for my trim. I just pull the yarn through. I don't work a chain here. I'm now going to work slip stitches all the way around the rib. Make sure you work a slip stitch into each rib row. You do not want your trim to be tighter than the rib. When you get to the end of the round, we're going to join our last stitch to our first stitch with an invisible join without cutting the yarn. So to work our invisible join, we take the last stitch and we pull the yarn loose. I'm now going to insert my hook from behind through both the front and back loops of the first stitch. Put the loop from the last stitch over your hook and pull it quite tight, and then you're going to pull that loop from the last stitch through the first stitch. That was step 1 in creating an invisible join. Step 2 is when I insert my hook into the back loop of the last stitch, and then again I'm picking up that loop on my hook that I created and pulling my yarn through both stitches. So we've now worked our slip stitch round, and the next part of the trim is working a double crochet into the back loop only. So we're working a double crochet into the back loop of all our slip stitches. Working into the back loop of slip stitches can be a little bit awkward and can be a bit sore on your fingers. Continue working double crochet into the back loop of your slip stitch all the way until you get back to that very first stitch. I'm just at the last stitch here, and I'm going to work my last double crochet into that slip stitch. There we go. I'm now going to join with an invisible join. However, it's going to be a cut yarn invisible join this time. So I'm just going to cut my yarn, and I'm ready now to then work my invisible join. So I'm using a tapestry needle. I'm going to thread up my tapestry needle, and then I'm ready to create my invisible join. I'm using that very first stitch, and I'm going to go through both loops. I'm going to go under both loops for where the V is at the point, and then I'm going to take my yarn and insert it into the center of the last stitch that I worked. And there we go, a lovely invisible join. I'm now ready to weave in my ends. And that's how you add a trim to a crocheted rib. You can use it as cuffs, or as I have done here on my hat, but really it's quite versatile. Just make sure that you don't actually make the slip stitch row any tighter than the rib. I hope you found this tutorial on attaching a trim to a rib very useful, and if you've enjoyed it, please do subscribe to Daisy Knot's channel. Thank you.